Well, even though there is currently no timetable set for his return, we now know Kawhi will be sticking around in L.A. Yesterday, Kawhi agreed with the Clippers to a 4-year deal with a player option that is worth over $176 million, according to reports. Fox Sports NBA analyst Chris Broussard joining us. Chris, will Kawhi lead the Clippers to a championship during this contract?
No. I don't believe that he will for several reasons.
He doesn't know.
And look, I picked them 2 years ago. Remember, his first year with the Clippers, I thought I was riding with Kawhi, but I don't think he'll get it done in these next 4 years. Number one, I don't think he's going to play next year. Now, they saying there's a 9 to 12-month recovery, right? He could come back earlier. Spencer Dinwiddie has been ready to play before 9 months. But the likelihood is 9 to 12 months for this rehab, right? 9 months would be right at the beginning of next year's playoffs. The problem is we know that Kawhi is notoriously overcautious with his body, right? And so, Skip, I have a hard time believing he's going to come back during the playoffs next year. I just think he's going to be extra cautious. I even heard stories about Kawhi when he was in San Antonio before he got injured, that he wouldn't step on the court unless he was 100%. And so I think he's out next year. So then we're looking at 2022-23. He'll be 31 at the start of that season. Skip, it will have been 5 years since he had played 60 or more games in a season. I don't think guys get healthier as they age. So I don't think he's going to be healthier. He's already been in load management. You know he's going back to that on steroids. All right, because he didn't load manage this year, and he tears his ACL. So I'm sure he's going to be like, look, I told y'all I need to do my program. But he's probably going to do that program and then some coming off of this injury at 31 years of age. So I think there's that. Then I don't think Kawhi is going to come back as a better player. If he comes back as who he is, that's great. And hopefully he will. And I think he'll come back as a top 10 player. I still think he'll be great. But as he is, he hasn't been able to lead them to a championship. As he is, they went down. They dropped a 3-1 lead to Denver in the second round. As he is, they were tied 2-2 with a pretty good Utah team before he got injured this year. So there's those things, and then finally, Skip, there's this. Other guys are coming. All right, Luka Legend, Baby Bird, Swaggy L, the Slovenian Nightmare, whatever you want to call him, he's already giving Kawhi and Paul George all they want. He's going to be better when Kawhi gets back. Giannis, who knows what type of swag this championship might put in Giannis and the Bucks. And then Kawhi or Kyrie and James Harden look like they're about to sign long-term with Brooklyn, so they're not going anywhere. And that's not even to mention the Lakers, the Suns. So I wouldn't mind being wrong, because I think it'd be great if he could bring the Clippers their first title. But I'm going to say no. I don't think he will.
Clippers will continue to suffer. Couldn't he have signed the same deal that the KD got? KD got 4 for $198. Couldn't Kawhi have gotten that same deal?
He left money. He could. This was the 176. He could have like opted in,
you have
signed for a little more money.
You have to risk.
Right. Or he could have done a one-year deal, and next year up for 5 years at like 235. So he left money on the table for something.
No, you can't. Given his injury history, you can't. He can't pull no Dennis Schroeder. You can't lose the suitcase. You can't lose the bag. Nah, he ain't doing that. And he took that 4th year, even though it's an option. That's a security blanket, Skip, just in case. I just said that. Just in case the knees get a little bulky at the end. Okay. I got $50 million coming my way. No. No.
You better hope so.
Hey, go back to like Mike McCarthy, Skip, the spider shag me. No.
You watched that movie?
I did watch it, Skip. Skip, look, the thing is that a lot of what Chris said is true. The Nets are not going anywhere. Giannis and Milwaukee are not going anywhere. There are a lot of teams that's going to be. I still believe, come trade deadline, I don't believe Dame finishes the season in Portland. I still believe the Sixers are the favorite to land Dame Lillard. So now you put that with Joel Embiid and Dame. That gonna be real nice. That be thing gonna be real nice. That might be Magic and Kareem, Shaq and Kobe.
How is LeBron gonna win another title with that?
That's before that happens. But we about to win next year. But anyway, we ain't talking about LeBron. This is about Kawhi.
Oh, we're about to talk about LeBron.
Your guy, first of all, if your guy load managed before then, woo. He might not play about 25 games coming back. He might play 25 games a season. And all the things that you said, and when you get guys on max contracts, Skip, a lot of times to add pieces around them, you're getting guys playing on mid-level exceptions or vet minimums. And you got to hope. When they want to come to L.A., they want to come to the Lakers. Lakers. You see what we got?
Really?
Yeah.
Well, then why did ESPN recently report that Russell Westbrook called Kawhi Leonard and all but begged him, please take me with you to the Clippers?
Where is he at?
Because Kawhi said, oh, no, I think I want your teammate.
He didn't say that. He called the man back. You could at least call the man back.
Yep. And so LeBron said yes to Russell Westbrook, and Kawhi said no. That was the turning point of why Kawhi is about to win a championship for the Los Angeles Clippers, why LeBron will be stuck with Russell Westbrook.
You haven't won one. You're not going to win one. I'm sorry that I made a long story, a short story long. The answer to Jenny's question is no.
Yeah, well, I've heard a whole lot of wishful thinking from Chris Broussard and Shannon Sharp because they are hoping against hope, even though Chris tried to disqualify. No, you don't hope they would win because that would do in your man LeBron James, because all of a sudden the Lakers would have to go to the basement at Staples. That's what's about to happen.
It ain't happening.
And I am here to tell you right now, I was told that the ligament in Kawhi's knee was not terribly torn, that it was eminently fixable, and that there is belief that he could come back by March or April and be ready for next year's playoff run.
The man had a thigh bruise and missed 73 games.
That's because he wanted out and he got sideways with Greg Popovich. So I give you all that, but all that load managing that he did in his 20s might benefit him in 30s because he doesn't have nearly as much mileage on his tires as LeBron James does.
And his knee's still bulky. The guy been low managing Chris since he was a teenager.
Yep.
And he still got bulky knees.
So let's sit back and ponder these two rosters, shall we?
Yes.
I got Kawhi Leonard, who averaged 30 a game in the playoffs. I got Paul George, who rose and looked like a superstar in the playoffs, averaged 41 minutes a game, went 27, 10, and 5 in the playoffs, and actually carried the Clippers pretty well without Kawhi Leonard. It took the greatest stretch of Chris Paul's career to knock out my Clippers, in which Chris Paul, in the last minute and 28 of the third quarter and the fourth quarter, scored 27 points. How is he even capable of that?
But the Clippers weren't a super team. You make it seem like the Clippers were a super team.
But
they
you
weren't.
admitted to me, you said it on air, and we can look it up because it's on tape.
Yeah.
You said if Kawhi had not been hurt, they would have gone to the finals because they would have won the West. Am I right?
I believe yes.
Okay, well, so why wouldn't they win the West next year? Because they're a year better, they're a year closer to each other.
We're a year better. We're healthy.
You didn't just shuffle the deck. You broke open a whole new deck with a big old joker right in the middle of the biggest wild card ever, Russell Westbrook.
You see how you talking sideways about Russ? He hear that.
You talk sideways about Russ more than I do.
No, I just said
you trust him less than I trust him.
I just said it wasn't a natural fit.
Okay, well, if it's not a natural fit, how are you going to win a championship with him?
If anybody can make it work.
The guy who vowed on social this morning, it's not about failing, it's about how you come back from failing.
You a hater.
I'm scared, LeBron. Does that mean you're going to win next year's championship? Is it a vow? Is it a message? Is it what? I don't know what it is.
You'll find out.
All I know is I've been watching a lot of Summer League, and I saw Kawhi Leonard with the Clippers at Summer League. He and Paul George are in attendance. He is all in. He is invested in the Clippers.
He got no choice.
Yeah.
What of his options? What other options does he have?
Remember, once upon a time, Kawhi could have joined forces with LeBron as a Laker.
Right.
And in the 11th hour, in a shock-the-world shock, remember that? An earthquake of a shock here in L.A. following a real earthquake. He went to the Clippers.
He went to the Clippers.
And the quote that I heard that was widely reported was, I didn't want to play with LeBron. I wanted to play against LeBron.
And guess what he got to show for it? All I know is my guy got a championship and a Finals MVP to show for it. In 2 years, what does Kawhi have to show about his presence at the Clippers? What does he have to show? What banner?
He has an injury thanks to Joe Ingles bumping him on a semi-break. That's what he has to show for it.
Can you believe that,
He
Chris?
has to show for it that the great Shannon Sharp said they would have won the West if not for that little injury that he suffered, right? You said that. I didn't say it. You said it.
Kawhi has been as motivated as he could possibly be to beat LeBron and win this championship these previous 2 years, right? He was regarded by a lot. When he came from Toronto, a lot of people were saying he was the best player in the league. A lot of people were saying he could be a top 10 player ever.
And?
A lot of people were saying he was having commercials, Kawhi Town. Yeah,
Did
I'm
he?
the king. This is my town, the town where the Lakers at, the town where LeBron's at. And he still didn't deliver. And they went down, they dropped a 3-1 lead.
3-1.
Nobody wanted to be in the bubble. What did the great Jared Dudley say about the Clippers? Them boys didn't want to be in that bubble. He said it that nobody wanted to be there.
Why not?
But Chris, let me ask you a question.
Not?
Chris, what does everybody say? LeBron James is the most fragile, mentally tough superstar in the history of the game.
That's in clutch situation.
But he wanted it, but he's tough enough to stick it out in the bubble.
He kept his team together because he smelled blood.
Right.
He smelled an easy W in the
So he is an assassin, huh?
Oh, an assassin?
Okay, well, we got to get back